Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are skipping past all those incredibly dense financial models you usually see, and we're looking directly at the underlying mechanics of the global economy. Honestly, I think the best way to visualize this whole thing is to just think of the plumbing in your house. It's a fantastic way to see exactly what's happening behind the scenes of the financial world. All right, let's dive right in. So, look, we constantly hear these super intimidating terms thrown around in the news, right? Words like inflation, recession, interest rates, GDP. It can honestly sound like a totally foreign language sometimes. But let's just hit pause for a second and ask a really fundamental question. How does the global economy actually work? When the news anchors say the economy is moving or slowing down, what is literally physically happening out there in reality? We really need to clear away all that jargon fog and look at the bare mechanics. Okay, moving into section 1, you are the economy. You see, to truly wrap our heads around the macro stuff, we absolutely have to start down at the micro level. And that means the very foundation of it all is, well, it's your own wallet and your daily routine. Now, you probably already know the classic textbook definition. An economy is basically just a system through which people produce, exchange, and consume goods and services. But if we strip away all that dry academic language, the main thing to remember is that the economy isn't some abstract cloud magically floating above us. No way. It is a very tangible, grounded system, and it's built entirely on everyday human exchange. Working, earning, buying, investing. Think about it. Every single time you work a shift, earn your paycheck, buy that morning cup of coffee on your way to the office, or, put a little cash into a retirement fund, you are not just sitting on the sidelines watching the economy happen. You're actually actively participating in it. You are a crucial gear in this massive machine, and those daily choices you make are literally the heartbeat of the entire system. And that perfectly sets us up for Section 2, the cycle of money. Let's really dive into how your specific daily actions connect you to everyone else in what we can picture as a giant economic circulatory system. To really get a clear picture of this, imagine that money acts just like water flowing through a network of pipes in a continuous cycle. Okay? The water flows from people who work and spend straight into businesses. Those businesses then use that water to pay salaries to their employees and invest in new equipment. And meanwhile, governments are tapping into this flowing pipe via taxes. They basically use that diverted water to fund essential infrastructure, like, say, the roads you drive on to get to work. It's this continuous closed loop. But the absolutely crucial point here is the movement. As the quote goes, this constant movement of money keeps the economy active. Economists actually call this the velocity of money, which, if we stick to our analogy, is the economic water pressure. If you just hoard all your water in a giant tank, what happens? The pipes dry up and the whole system grinds to a halt. The real magic of the economy relies entirely on the speed at which that money moves from hand to hand and from business to business. Which brings us to Section 3, when the flow changes. Because, well, we have to ask, what actually happens when the water pressure in our economic plumbing system starts to fluctuate? Just like a healthy circulatory system or a perfectly maintained plumbing network, when the flow of money is strong and steady, the economy grows and expands. Basically, everyone has enough water. But when that flow starts to slow down, maybe people get a little nervous about the future and stop spending, or businesses totally halt their hiring, we start seeing some serious structural problems. A slow flow is what we call a recession. The pipes are all still there, but the lifeblood running through them has slowed down to an absolute trickle. Now, let's look at the absolute extremes of this pressure. If the water pressure gets way too high, meaning there's basically too much money chasing too few goods, we get inflation. Prices absolutely burst upward because the whole system is totally overloaded. But on the flip side, if there's way too little pressure and the money flow slows down drastically, businesses completely dry up. They earn less, jobs get lost, and overall spending shrinks. It's essentially a classic drought scenario for the economy. Interestingly, we can actually track the overall pressure of this system by keeping an eye on 4 main valves. And together, these actually make up the equation for a nation's GDP. Valve 1 is consumption, that's just everyday people buying things. Valve 2 is investment, businesses spending money to grow. Valve 3 is government spending, things like public projects and services. And Valve 4 is trade, exchanging goods with completely different systems. So when these 4 valves open up, economies expand. But when they tighten and close up, growth slows right down, and we start inching toward that scary recessionary drought.
Okay, scaling all of this up, we arrive at Section 4, balancing the global system. Because obviously, your local plumbing doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's intricately connected to a massive global water network.
Today, absolutely no economy operates in total isolation. We are all deeply connected through things like oil prices, global trade, and currency movements. What this really means is that a shift in international trade deals or a spike in global oil prices can immediately affect the flow of money right in your own hometown. Think about it. A leak in a pipe halfway across the world, like, say, a sudden semiconductor shortage or a major shipping bottleneck, can literally drop the water pressure in your neighborhood overnight. That is just the wild reality of a globally interconnected system. So you're probably wondering, who actually manages all of this madness? Well, this is exactly where central banks step in. Central banks are institutions that manage economic stability by controlling the financial conditions in the system. They are essentially the master plumbers of the global network. They have their hands right on the main water valves for their respective countries, adjusting interest rates to either encourage borrowing and spending or to cool things down when the pipes get too hot. And let me tell you, their job is incredibly delicate. It's this constant, rigorous balancing act between growth and stability. They have to continuously monitor those pressure dials to balance the desire for strong, vibrant economic growth against the absolute necessity of keeping the whole system stable. If they turn the valve too far open, boom, you flood the house with inflation. But if they turn it too tight, you starve the system straight into a recession. It really requires constant, incredibly precise adjustments. Like the quote says, the global economy may seem complex, but it is ultimately about how money moves and how people behave. Honestly, grasping this delicate balancing act is what helps you stay grounded during those wild stock market swings. Because at the end of the day, the global economy isn't just some complex math running on a supercomputer somewhere. It's driven entirely by our collective human behavior. It's about how you and I react to the world around us, whether we feel confident enough to spend our cash or fearful enough to hoard it in the tank. Ultimately, we are the water in the pipes. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick question to chew on. The very next time you spend $1, whether that's on a week's worth of groceries or just a new pair of shoes, ask yourself, where is that drop of water going next? Whose salary is it helping to pay? What local business is it helping to grow in the vast interconnected flow of our global economy? It's pretty wild to think about. Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep questioning the world around you.